everybody. I think we're live. So Leon's just checking. Yes? Oh, good. We're live. Thanks so much for tuning in for Power Through Your Paper. This class is just kind of designed as a little booster class. We're not doing a Get Organized challenge this summer, so I thought I'll just throw this in and kind of motivate you. Paper is the biggest challenge for so many people. So we're going to do a Power Through Your Paper class, and hopefully it'll get you motivated to get your paper sorted and organized through the summer. Okay, where do we start? We start with choosing the right tools for the type of crafter that you are. The right organization tools that are going to fit in your craft room and with the way that you craft. So if you've joined me for anything, I'm always saying, how do you craft, when do you craft, where do you craft, who do you craft with? Before you choose tools to organize your paper, you want to answer those questions. Now, I'm not going to go into that too much in this class, but at the end of this class, I'm going to record another video, so we'll just leave this running live. So if you want to learn about the different paper organizers that we make and who I think they work best for, stay tuned in after class. All right, so your first thing is choose your tools. And there is a blog post about that, and there is a, and there will be a live video posted, or a video posted as well. So we'll get you all those links either through Facebook, or Karen can even put them up on the live stream. Okay, first thing you have to do in order to organize your stuff is you have to come up with a themes and sentiments list. And I had one on my desk, and now I've probably buried it somewhere. Well, where could that be? There is a link to the themes and sentiments list. Darn it. Well, it doesn't matter. It's a list. There's a link to it posted on the live stream. Karen can repost that link on Facebook. If you could do that now, Karen, that would be great. Your themes and sentiments list is what's going to guide you through the process of organizing your paper. It is all the things that you scrapbook, card make, craft about, organized alphabetically. So animals, baby, camping, sports, whatever it is, all the things that you craft about, you're going to put on that list, and that's how you're going to do your themes and sentiments. So that's the first thing, themes and sentiments. Now, after you do your themes and sentiments list, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to create some dividers so it makes it easy to sort. And I'm going to tell you, go vertical with your sorting, right? Whether you're using our paper storage boxes, our paper handler, something you got somewhere else, another brand, I don't care, but you need to go vertical because it takes up less space, it's faster, and it's easier. And in the event that you get halfway through organizing and you have to clean everything up and put it away, everything can stay organized when you put it away, so it's easy to pull back out and finish your project. So go vertical with organization, and we're going to talk a little bit, you're going to see really some of the benefits for that in just a minute. The next thing you need to do is create some dividers, and you can create dividers any way you want. This is just some ugly green cardstock that I use to create dividers, and we're going to sort our paper into three major categories: themes and sentiments, that's the one you made the list for, the calendar year, and the rainbow. And I just used sticky notes. I just used our Shut Your Flap tabs, which are these guys. If you're using some kind of sticky note, you want to be using the plastic ones, right? If you use paper sticky notes, as soon as they get folded, they're going to be folded over and you won't be able to read them anymore. So use the plastic ones because they flex, but they don't bend. Okay, so you can use our Shut Your Flap tabs or any other brand of plastic sticky note to create dividers this way. You can use old pieces of chipboard. So these are from the backs of like paper pads, right? Just heavy chipboard, and I just added a tag to the top of them. Or you can use paper storage box dividers, which is what I'm using, which is what I'm going to use for today. So I took my paper storage box dividers, and I know you guys get tired of seeing these Shut Your Flap tabs, right? However many. I use the little guys, which look like this. Sorry, I'm throwing things around, and so it takes too long for the camera to catch up with me. I use those small Shut Your Flap tabs, and then this is a mini version, right? You're probably going to have more dividers than this because I just wanted to give an example of each category. So this says ABC, that's for themes and sentiments. and then I have the calendar year, and then I have the rainbow tabs, right? You're probably going to have more tabs, or you're going to consolidate tabs. So your A tab, if you're just using 10 dividers, your A tab, where I have A, you may have A through F, right? E through H, you know, whatever it is, to divide up that alphabet, those themes, into major categories. Or you may be using individual, whatever they are, individual tabs. Here's the thing. You don't want to permanently label anything, and you don't want to make a ton of different tabs, because as you go through and sort and organize, you're not necessarily going to store all your paper together, and we'll talk about that later. So you don't want to have permanent tabs made before you start. You just want to give yourself major sections to sort into, and that way you're going to be able to sort into those major sections and then decide how to store your paper or each category after that. Okay, so once you, I hope that makes sense. So once you make your divider tabs, then you're going to put them in a vertical paper box. Okay, so I've got all my tabs in one box. You might have, this is only 10 tabs, you might have 20 tabs. Start with them all in one box. And the reason I want you to do that is because if you divide them up into 4 or 5 boxes, first of all, you're never quite sure how that's going to work. Like you think, oh, I have tons of animal paper, but you might only have 10 sheets, right? So it's not going to fill as much space as you think. If they're all together, then everything's going to stay lined up. But the other thing that's going to happen is that your papers are going to stay up also, right? So you can, sorry, I have this one in sideways. So as you're sorting, everything's going to stay upright. If you only put 1 or 2 dividers in a box, or 1 or 2 pieces of paper in a box, it's going to slump down, and then you won't be able to see everything. So start with everything in one box, and then start sorting your paper. I'm going to try and do this backwards so that you guys can see. I don't have labels on my thing. So I have this pile of paper right here that I'm going to sort through, right? This is 4th of July paper, so it's going to go in summer, right? Now, here's the other thing. Put all of your tabs, so all of the paper that has an extra little piece on the end, you want to make sure they're all going the same way so that you get that even height across the top. Right, so if I put these in, does this one have a tab? Yeah. If I put these in this way, they're not the same height, but if I put them both this way, then they're both the same height. So as you're sorting your paper, keep that in mind, right? I'm just going to go through. Now, the other thing about sorting is that you want to go quickly through it. It's not. People always get a little bit overwhelmed with paper sorting because they have so much paper. They're not sure what's going to go where. How am I going to sort this? How am I going to sort that? Just go with your gut, right? So when I look at these things, these papers, these are all summer. This paper is double-sided. This screams out summer to me, and this is why I'm going to use it. So even though it's got rainbow stripes on the back, I'm going to put it in summer because it matches with the other summer papers, right? So you want to keep all those things together that work together. And so you're just going to go through your paper quickly. Now, here's another, so everything I just sorted was summer. And then here I popped in with the 4th of July paper, okay? I made a little sticky tab with my Shut Your Flap tabs that say 4th of July. So now I can go here and say, okay, I'm going to pop this paper in. Where's those other 4th of July papers? I'm going to pop this in. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. I'm going to pop it in behind the summer tab, right? So in the front of, I'm going to go to summer, and then I'm going to have 4th of July. So I'm kind of doing a secondary sort without having to do something a second time. Right, so this one, same thing, back to school, already labeled. I'm going to throw it in the fall tab, and now everything else that I come across for back to school is going to go in fall. Some of you will put school under S in your themes category, right? It all depends how you think about it. When I think about school, I think about September, back to school, fall, it all goes together for me, right? So I always put it in fall. that might not be the right place for you. So one of the things about sorting and organizing your paper is using that themes and sentiments list to guide you through the process. If you have school under S in themes, then you're going to put it under your ABC S tab, school in themes. I have school as a fall thing, so it goes in the fall category for me. It's going to be different for everybody. The important thing is, how do you think about that theme or that category so that you can actually find it when you are ready to do that. This, you might think, is just red and white paper, which it is. And if I had purchased it alone as red and white paper, then it would go in my red rainbow category. But it is part of this picnic collection, which for me, picnic, it's all about summer, right? So the picnic collection is going in behind the summer tab. Now, you could put another little sticky on here that said picnic if you wanted to do that. I happen to know that's all the picnic stuff I've got. Oh, now I'm into camping papers here. So I'm going C for camping. And I'm just going to work through this pile and put everything into the right category as I'm going. Now, if you have other things in C, which you would know from your themes and sentiments list, you might make a tab right now that says camping. And then if you come up with other things in your C category, not sure what they would be, maybe celebration is in that C category. But when you go back to C, you'll know that you can put something in front of or behind that tab. So, whoops, in with camping. Oop, now I'm on to beach. I know all of this goes together in beach. It's all, yeah. Beach, beach, beach. I'm kind of cheating here, right? My paper is kind of pre-sorted. So I've got a tab. I'm going to label it beach. And when I put it in B, which also might have baby, birthday, bath time, it's going to be that much easier for me to segment off each individual category. So those are beach. This is all beach. Now, within beach, I've got a couple of different collections. And so again, no, this is a celebrate collection. Sorry, that's a birthday. I'm going to just forget I said that, because that's not a beach collection. That is a birthday celebration collection. So I've got a couple of those collections that are birthday, and I'm going to label them separately so that I know which things are which. So you might have collections in there by name, or kind of, so beach is before birthday, so birthday goes in next. So you might label them by collection or by style, right? So it might be kid's birthday, adult birthday, something like that, so that it's easier to find exactly what you're looking for. So these are all generic birthday. And we're going to talk about collections as well. So I guess I could jump to that right now. Just drop these in here. My birthday tab. Now, if you have collections of paper that all go together, of course you want to keep those together. So there's a couple of different ways to do that. You can use, oh, here we go. So this is a Thanksgiving collection, right? It's a whole set of paper from Creative Memories, and it's for Thanksgiving. So I've just put the entire collection into a supersized single pocket page. Right? And now I've got that whole collection together, and it can go right behind the fall tab. I could throw a label on it right now if I wanted to that was Thanksgiving, with the name of the Thanksgiving collection. We're going to talk about deciding what, well, no, I'm going to talk about it right now. This is in a supersized single pocket, right? So if you are using a scrap rack, the supersized single pockets work great for keeping collections together that you're going to put into your scrap rack. How do you choose what paper goes in the scrap rack and what paper goes in a paper storage box. For me, it just depends on how many pieces of paper I have in that collection or in that category. So something simple, St. Patrick's Day. I don't have very much paper for St. Patrick's Day. I might have 4 or 5 sheets of paper for St. Patrick's Day and a few St. Patrick's Day scraps, right? I don't need to put those in a paper storage box because there's not a lot of them. And the more I can keep together in my scrap rack, the more I'm going to see, the more I'm going to use, and it's all in one place. It's ideal for small categories of paper like St. Patrick's Day. Another one that I don't have very much paper for is ballet. What I do have a ton of paper for is travel. So I'm not going to put travel papers in my scrap rack because I probably have this much travel paper and it would just take up too much room in the scrap rack. So I'm going to combine storing paper in my scrap rack when it's a tiny category and storing paper in a paper storage box when I have a ton of paper for that category, right? And then there are a bunch of different choices that you can use. So these are what we call double-sided duos. Again, great for the scrap rack, has the 3-hole punch. This one has 2 6x12 pockets on the front and 1 12x12 pocket on the back. This one is called this double-sided duo 2x1, double-sided duo 4x1. This one has 4 small pockets on the front and 1 big pocket on the back. So this is a little bit more ideal for storing, 10 sheets of paper and then all the scraps that go with it. You're going to be able to keep them all together in smaller pockets. And this one, again, with the 6x12 pockets. And I just put the colored paper in there so it's a little bit easier to see what the pocket dimensions are. So if you're storing in a scrap rack, those work great. So here's one. Here's kind of an example of it loaded up. So 4x6, 4x6, 4x12, 8x, 6x8 pocket on the bottom. And you can kind of see that's loaded with scraps. So these are all the parts for this collection in one pocket page that can go in my scrap rack. So if I don't have a lot, this is birthday, if I don't have a lot of birthday paper, I'm going to put it right in my scrap rack using something like this, right? If you're using paper handlers or paper storage boxes, oh, here's the 2x1 loaded up. So you can see this has some Halloween, smaller stuff on the front, bigger stuff on the back, but all in one pocket. If you're using paper storage boxes or paper handlers, then you might want to use something like the collection keeper or the paper pocket. Sorry, this one's loaded, so it's a little easier to see. Smaller pockets on the front, 12x12 pocket on the back. And when you put that collection together in your paper storage box or in your paper handler, it's got the little tab on the side. So if you want to keep things together, you use together, you want to keep all your collections together. This is a paper pocket, just a 12x12 pocket. Again, I'll go more over product stuff in the next segment. So if you want to really learn about scrap rack products and how all those functions, stick with me after the show. This one is the expanding project planner. Again, this would be something that you put bigger collections in that are going to go into your scrap rack. And then we also have the side loader single. So this is going to hold 25 sheets of cardstock. Again, fits in your scrap rack. If you're using the paper storage boxes, then you're going to want to use paper pockets or the collection keeper. All right, so you're going to keep working through your categories until you have everything sorted. This is graduation paper. Some of you are going to think that this belongs in school. Some of you are going to think that it belongs in fall because that's where all your school things are. That's what I said. But for me, I think of graduation as a totally separate thing. So this is going to go in my themes and sentiments category under G for graduation. All right. Then we've got sports. I'm going to move these over to the side here. Okay. So I didn't get to rainbow yet. Same thing with the rainbow. You're just going to work through your colors of paper. I don't have all the colors represented here in my tab. So blues and greens. We'll just pretend that I didn't pull all these rainbow colors out. Blues and greens are going to go right here behind blues and greens. And then orange and yellow. But I'm just going to work through my paper red and pink, right? Now this box is pretty full. So at this point, if I have more paper to sort, now I'm going to add a second box and sort of divide and conquer. So I'm just going to split this up about halfway. We'll go summer. I'm going to pop this into this second box. And now I'm going to still be able to see everything. Everything's going to stay upright, and I'm going to continue sorting. And I'm just going to keep adding boxes until my entire paper pile is sorted, and then everything's going to be organized into the right major categories into my vertical storage. After I do that, then I'm going to start breaking down that vertical storage. What's going to go in the scrap rack? What needs an extra tab? What do I want to put into a side loader single or a supersized single page to go into the scrap rack? What do I want to label my tabs on with collection keepers if I'm doing that? So then you're going to be able to go through and break down each category a little bit more. So you've got your beach category. That's a big, thick category. I'm not going to put it in my scrap rack. But if I go back here to graduation, that's a tiny category. I've only got a couple sheets of paper. So those are going to go, I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to put it in a supersized single, and I'm going to file it in my scrap rack, right? Does that make sense? So everything isn't necessarily going to go in paper storage boxes. It certainly can. I like to keep as much together as I possibly can keep together, and that means put it in the scrap rack if that's where everything else for that category is. You can leave all of your categories right in your paper storage boxes, right? Once you get your paper organized in your paper storage boxes, then you're going to put them onto your shelf or wherever you store your paper. So, and then we're going to talk about paper pads and scraps. I know that's on your list, right? So you can put your paper storage boxes on the shelf this way. Then you have to pull them out to get the paper out. I'm going to recommend, especially if you're using cube storage, that you put the paper storage boxes on this way. Put my second one in here. Maybe I can't fit my paper handler. So now my tabs are sticking out this way so I can see what everything is. Oh, I want beach paper. I can go right to the beach category, pull out my beach paper, thumb through it, choose what I want. Choose the collection I want or the color or the style I want, put it right back in. Right? I can see all the tabs from the side. So if you're using cube storage where you have edges, then you can turn your paper storage boxes onto their backs and you'll be fine. They'll keep everything nice and neat and organized. Paper storage boxes are designed, they fold together at the bottom, which gives them their upright stability. They don't have that same stability when you put them on their back. So you need to have something to bookend them when you're going to put them on their back, right? Okay, so now next question. What do you do with your paper pads, right? I'm not going to lecture you on paper pads today, but if you take the Get Organized Challenge class in the fall, I will lecture you on why you should or should not be buying these. The thing you want to do with these is get them right in with the rest of your paper. Don't have them stacked up in a closet somewhere or piled up somewhere so you don't know what's in there and you have to dig through the pile. Turn your paper pads on their side. Add a little note. So this is all Valentine's paper. So I've got Valentine's right here, and then I'm just going to take that paper pad and I'm going to slide it right in between, or right next to, as close as I can get it anyway, to the rest of my holiday and seasonal paper, so that when I'm looking for Valentine's paper, I'm going to see that little tag, I'm going to pull that out, and I'm going to use it, right? You're going to do the same thing with smaller paper pads. They can go right in. So this is a birthday paper pad, right? I can add a little sticky to it that says birthday. And then I can add it right into the birthday section, and now it's sticking out. I might put the brand or the name or the style, whatever I need to remind myself what that is, but now that birthday paper, even though it's only 6 by 6, is right next to the 8.5 by 11 and the 12 by 12 paper. You can put all the sizes together within that storage system so that everything's in the same place and it's easy to find. If you have 6 by 6 birthday paper or 8.5 by 11 birthday paper or 12 by 12 and you're working on a card or a scrapbook or mixed media project, whatever it is, all of those paper sizes are going to be useful to you. So you can store them all together. I know that freaks people out. They don't like to store their small paper next to their large paper, right? So you can use 2 different sizes of paper storage boxes or paper handlers. So this is a 6 by 6, a 12 by 12. There's an 8.5 by 11. Again, I'll talk about that later. You can separate them by size if you want to. I think it makes it a little more difficult to find what you need, but if you like to keep your paper sorted by size, but you still want to keep it the same way. So if this was your 6 by 6 theme papers, then you would want to put your 6 by 6 theme papers right in front of your your 12 by 12 theme papers, so that you see that, oh, I have birthday paper in 6 by 6, right? Here's my birthday paper in 12 by 12. So everything is still close together, or as close as you can keep it together, so it's easy to find those things. All right, what are you going to do with your scraps? Oh, some of you already know that I did a new scrap organizer that's coming out in the fall. As a matter of fact, Leanne, could you go into the other studio, and right next to the counter in there on the floor is a paper storage box that's got the new Scrap Master in it. Can you grab that and I'll show that. You can organize your scraps any way. Sorry if I'm out of camera here. I want to just grab something out of one of my other boxes here. Except what I want you to do is keep them together with everything else. So if you have red paper scraps, you can have a few, and you use a scrap rack, you can have a couple of pages in the red section of your scrap rack. Maybe you're going to have a 12 by 12, 6 by 6, 6 by 12, 3 pages, and that's where you're going to put your red scraps when you're done. You're going to have Christmas scraps in the Christmas section, soccer scraps in the sports section, right? So you want to keep things together as much as you can. This is just a regular 8.5 by 11 file folder, right, that I can slide right in. Sorry, I know that's rubbing on my mic. That makes it an annoying sound. I can take just a file folder. I could label it red scraps. This one just says scraps. And I can put that file folder right in the red section. And now when I want red scraps, I can pull that out and I can thumb through that file folder and see all the red scraps that are in there. I can pull it all the way out and use it. The important thing is keeping your scraps together with the rest of your paper, or with the rest of your rainbow section or your theme section, or whatever it is that however it is that you've stored those, so that you'll see the scraps and that you'll use them, right? Leanne was telling me that she got a message this morning. Somebody was talking about using the new Anna Griffin machine. That's a small machine. I think it's probably like a diamond press size. I haven't actually seen it. So one of the things I recommend with scraps is that you don't keep tons of them, that you choose your minimum scrap size, and anything that doesn't meet the minimum at the end, anything that doesn't meet the minimum scrap size at the end of your project, you can just get rid of it, right? If I asked you this question, raise your hand if you have enough paper that if you scrapbooked, card made, crafted a little bit every day for the rest of your life, you'd never use it up, right? Right? You probably do. Most of you probably have your hands up. I can't see though, right? So don't be afraid to throw away your scraps. Don't be afraid to purge out your scraps or donate them to, the kindergarten class or whatever, because you have so much paper that keep the scraps that you love, keep the beautiful ones, choose a size. I'm going to say 6 by 6 as your minimum scrap size, and let everything else go as a donation or into the recycle bin, because you need to use all the paper that you've got. Scrapbooking, card making, crafting is a fashion forward hobby. All of the things and materials and colors and textures and styles that we use in crafting are trendy. They follow the trends of fashion, whether it's home fashion or wardrobe fashion, style, they all move along. If you are doubtful of this, I want you to think about the chevron pattern that was so popular 4 or 5 years ago. It was on scrapbook paper, it was on draperies, it was on cushions, it was on dresses, it was everywhere. It was very on trend. Right now, that Moroccan pattern is very on trend. You're seeing it everywhere as well, right? If you're not using up your paper, 5 years from now, you're going to look at that Moroccan pattern or that chevron pattern and think, boy, that's ugly, or boy, that doesn't really look good anymore. We're very style oriented. So use your paper. Don't worry about saving tiny scraps. Is this what they were talking about, a small machine like this? Did you see a machine? No, you didn't see it, she just said. So this is a tiny die cut machine. It only holds about a 3-inch scrap. But if I saved every scrap of paper that was it's probably not even 3 inches, to fit in here, I would have mountains of paper, and I would spend more time digging through scraps to find what I wanted. So I'm just gonna, some of you I know won't be able to do it. Oh, it's hard to purge stuff. But if you can keep your scraps to 6 by 6, okay, maybe 4 by 6, and then purge out everything else, you're going to use more stuff. It's going to be easier to find. You're going to have less stuff to haul around and less stuff to dig through, right? So this is the Scrap Master. Some of you already saw it. It'll be coming out in the fall. And it's like a big file folder, right? So similar to what I demonstrated with the red, but it's 12 by 12. This allows you to put a theme of paper inside the file folder, essentially. Slide it into your paper storage box, label it on the end, maybe it's football. You pull this out, and inside you've got your football paper, and then you've got all your football scraps as well. So you're able to keep big categories of paper together with their scraps. So this is coming in the fall. If you're looking for a great way to organize your scraps, that's going to be a good option. Again, if you're using the scrap rack, you can put them into scrap rack pages right in the category. You can use a file folder in your paper storage boxes to organize scraps right in with a color or theme or sentiment that they belong in right in your paper storage boxes as well. All right, where's my cheat notes here? I buried them. Challenges for paper sorting. Double-sided paper, right? You just have to choose. You just have to choose which side you want to categorize that paper. And as I mentioned before, you probably have enough paper that if you misfile a few things, you'll still be able to find something that's going to work great for your project. So try not to get too hung up on if this paper is red on one side and green on the other side, if you're more likely to use red paper or you like red paper better, you all know what colors you tend to use. Put that in where you're probably going to use it. It's going to be more likely that you use it. Within your rainbow section, you're going to have sections that are, let's say, stripes, dots, any kind of print, floral. How do you organize those? Put them right into the rainbow section by dominant color. And I'm sorry, let me see if I have something right here. If I've got something over my little secret stash here of paper that I didn't pull out of a box. So reds and pinks, right? Glitter, that's another thing. If you have paper so some glitter papers are really good and glitter doesn't come off them. This one isn't one of them. I don't know if you can see that, but when I rub it, glitter comes off all over everything. So you may want to store something like this in a side loader single or a supersized single because it prevents glitter from getting on everything else. If you have something delicate like vellum that you're worried about the edges and corners of, I thought I had a little vellum sheet in here too. So you're going to want to store that in a side loader single or a paper pocket or something that's going to add that little bit of protection so that you don't damage the paper or other papers, right? So, and again, I'll talk about that in the next segment, right? But when you go through your papers, let's see if I have so reds and pinks, if you've got florals, you're just gonna put all the florals together in the red and pink area, right? So it doesn't matter that they're not the same exact colors, right? So these are both in my red and pink, darker pink, red, but they're all florals. And the dominant colors are red and pink, so that's where I'm going to put those. You may have dots or stripes. They may have mixes of colors in them. Choose the color you like the best, that you're most likely to use, and file it in that section. So when you look at my paper storage boxes, you're going to see my papers go from light to dark. So light pink all the way through dark red. And then that's followed by sections of prints and patterns, floral, dots. I'm trying to remember what order they go in. Dots, florals, I think it's dots, distressed, florals, plaids, stripes. So as I pull out a section, if I'm looking for something and I want to use a red printed paper, I'm just going to go to that red section and thumb through the back, and I'm going to see that I have prints and florals that are all reds and pinks all in one place. So it makes it really easy to find. The biggest problem that people have with organizing paper that's patterned is getting hung up in the choice of where to put it, right? Just get the most dominant color and get it in there, and you will be so surprised and amazed at how much more you use, because as you're thinking, oh, I need an accent for this red, and you thumb through that red, the accent papers in the back that have reds and pinks in them, you're going to see things that you forgot that you had, that you never thought about using, just because it's visible and it's accessible and it's right there in that red category, right? We talk about that a lot in Get Organized Challenge, the benefits of organizing by the rainbow as opposed to organizing all your flower papers together, all your stripe papers together, is that you have to go to multiple places and you're not seeing all the color things that go together. So if you can do that, light to dark, and then prints and patterns are going to follow in each category. And really try not to get too hung up on making the right decision. If you're not clicking through those decisions quickly enough, you need to have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or some sugar, and so that you can make those quick decisions. Or you might need to walk away from your paper organizing project. If you find that you are spending too much time thinking about where that paper belongs, it's probably time to take a little break from it, right? Your brain is shutting down. Karen just brought me up some questions. Catherine says, most of my paper is part of collections and isn't a theme, but more like coordinated papers, colors, and designs. This is what stumps me. I can easily store it. How do I remember to use it? Oh my gosh, that's an excellent question. Okay, so if you're buying collections, you are probably working with a brand like Close to My Heart or Stampin' Up, right? Where you can actually print off the collections of paper that you have for that group and create a catalog for yourself and then refer back to it. So she says most of it is not themed. It's just colors and paper designs. It's going to go in the color section if it's mostly colors, prints, and patterns. So if you get a collection from Close to My Heart that's all pinks and reds, you can put it all in one paper pocket, slide it into your pinks and reds, and just put a sticky note on it of if it has a particular name, which they usually do, so you can find it quickly and easily that way. But you can also create a catalog of what you have when you're buying those collections from those companies who release in collections. Print a catalog out and put it right into your scrap rack, or keep it, if you're not using a scrap rack, keep it right in the front of your paper section of your paper boxes, so you can just flip through and see all the things that you have. When you use it up, cross it off when you don't have it anymore. But I'm going to recommend, put it in the right color, because even if you're not searching by collection and you're looking by color, if you have that new Close to My Heart paper collection that's mostly pinks and reds, or maybe they're calling it summer sky and it's blues and greens and white and yellow daisy things, put it in summer, right? What does it say to you? What does it scream out to you? Where are you most likely to use it is the only way that you can do it. Where am I most likely to use it? The other thing about vertical paper storage is that it's pretty easy when things are labeled on the edge to flip through whole paper pockets full of collections and see them quickly and easily, right? So get them vertical and get a label on the edge. But if you can create some sort of catalog from the manufacturer of what it looks like, it could even be a digital catalog, right? You might do it in Evernote or OneNote or on your laptop, and then you can take a quick look through that way. But you're still going to need that label on the edge with what the name of the collection is, or the number of the collection, or however that particular brand does it. Question. Does Tiffany or others put notes in Scrap Rack to look at paper storage boxes for their bigger size collection of theme stuff paper? Maybe only one Scrap Rack page of grad bling, but tons of paper, for example. I don't put notes in my Scrap Rack, mostly because I know if I don't have paper, like let's say graduation. If I only have a few sheets of graduation paper, it's in the grad section, right? But travel would be a good example here. I don't have any travel paper in my Scrap Rack. I'm trying to think, is that the truth? Yeah, I don't have any travel paper in the Scrap Rack at all. So I know all of my travel paper is in my paper storage boxes in Themes and Sentiments under T for travel. Is it a good idea to refer back, to put a note in? Absolutely. Is it a good idea if things like cross over? So we're just talking about the collection that's maybe called Summer, that has daisies and blue and green and, all sort of summery florals, and it's in the summer section of your paper storage collection. Sure, you might want to put a note in your summer section of your Scrap Rack that says, don't miss the great floral collection, or whatever the brand or name of that group is in your paper storage box. So it's always good to remind yourself where things are and to make it easy. And if you put those notes in as you're putting things away, then it does make it so much easier to remember that you have those things and then find them. Linda says, so if you have one paper pack with lots of themes, I'm guessing you would put a tab for each on the pack and still store it as Tiff stated. Yes. So that paper pack was Valentine's, or paper pad was Valentine's. Most paper pads even if they have multiple themes, it's all kind of the same theme. So this paper pad, the cover's missing off it. This paper pad is calendar year. It goes January through December, all the holidays, right? So you could, in this example, this just says holidays on my little sticky note, but you could tab it January, February, March, April, right? So you would know exactly, oh, what's in that? I'm looking for 4th of July paper. I could pull it out, go to the July section, and see if that's something that I'm interested in. Sorry, I can't. I think this actually says, yeah. So this starts out July right here, right? And then it has 4 or 5 paper designs that follow behind it that all kind of coordinate with that July beach theme, okay? So you could do that, and it would make it that much easier for you to get right to that. And you know what I love about vertical is that when it is like this, you can just thumb through and see a corner. Is that a color or a design or something that you really like that you want to work with? So absolutely, you can put multiple tabs on your paper pads. The more of that type of thing that you do, I know we didn't talk that much about brain function because I'm trying to make this kind of a short and fast class. But the more ways that you label things and the more ways that you see things, when you touch it, when you write it down, the more you handle things, putting them away and organize them, putting them away, the stronger you build your memory of that thing. So it makes it easier to remember that you have it even. So it is great to add extra labels, not just for your visual, but it reinforces in your brain what you've got as well. Okay, did you see my glasses? Here they are. Let me take a quick look at my notes to make sure I haven't missed anything. We talked about double-sided paper. We talked about scraps. We talked about don't overthink it. That is my biggest piece of advice for you today. Do not get caught up overthinking how you're going to organize your paper, right? Just jump in and get it done, right? So some people just get paralyzed with the idea of doing it, how to do it, how much work it's going to take. Karen had brought this great quote up to me, which used to be on my wall. It's, I don't know what happened to it now, but it's not there right now. That was just about, the gist of the quote was, are you spending more time thinking about getting the job done than it's actually going to take you to get the job done? So just jump in and get it done. You'll be amazed at how fast you can sort through your paper, categorize it, and then have it visible and accessible and easy to work with, easy to get to. And these are all the keys to actually getting more done and having more fun and being more productive when you craft. I have people say to me all the time at shows that they feel guilty because they have all this craft stuff that they're not using because they're overwhelmed with how much stuff that they have, right? So set yourself up so it's easy to get to your supplies, and then you can actually use them, and then you won't feel guilty about being a collector because you'll be a crafter instead of a craft supply collector. Okay, so if you have questions, I'm going to stay on and I'm going to talk about the products that we offer for paper storage and who should use them, where they should use them, when they should use them, why they should use them. If you have other questions, you can ask them, and Karen will bring them up as I talk through these other products. So if you're interested in learning more about products, stick around. I'm going to tidy up my desk a little bit here, and then I'm going to talk about what products we offer. All right, thanks for joining me for which paper storage option is going to work best for you. Choosing the right tools for organizing your paper, or anything for that matter, is probably the most important part to being successful in your organization project, right? Getting something organized. When we talk about crafting and paper in particular, you really want to think about where you craft, when you craft, who you craft with or not, or who you don't craft with, and how you move around in your crafting life. So if you are someone who has a scrapbook room at home and you only craft at home and you sit in your craft area and you're surrounded with your supplies and you're not moving things around, you need a very different tool for organizing your paper than somebody who has to keep their paper stored in the garage and they take it out of the garage and either bring it to the dining room or throw it in their car and take it with them to a crafting event, right? Two totally different styles, kind of the extreme styles of crafting. You might be somewhere in the middle, but it's important to ask yourself before you choose paper storage options, how do I craft and how do I need to move that around? So if you are somebody who always crafts at home, cardboard paper storage boxes are a great option. They hold a ton of paper. They're going to sit on your shelf either on their back if you're using cube storage, or this way if you're not using cube storage, and that is again because of the bottom of the box. So the bottom of the box is designed, the engineering of it is what keeps the box standing straight up, that little fold in at the bottom. When you put a paper storage box that doesn't have that on its back, this one's standing up just fine because there's no weight in it, but it's going to tip over with weight in it. So you need, if you're going to put it on its back, you need to use something like cube storage or it's going to slide right in there. I'm going to pull these out for the moment and then I'll put things back in so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So with the cardboard paper storage boxes, these are called the Paper Junkie straight up paper storage box. Those can go in your cube shelf. So this is the IKEA Expedit, I believe. These also fit in the cowlicks. So if you're using IKEA cubes, the paper storage boxes are going to fit fine in there. They also fit in the cubes from the big scrapbook stores like Joann's and Michael's. They're going to fit in those cubes as well. Those cubes are actually a little bit bigger than the IKEA cubes. There are some of you who purchased cube storage from a regular store or non-craft store, and those cubes are a little bit small. So make sure that you're reading the dimensions on the cube storage before you buy them. You want to make sure they're big enough to put your 12 by 12 paper in, which is usually going to require at least 13 by 13 interior space. So the cardboard paper storage boxes come in a set of 5. They come flat like this, right? And you just fold them together, super easy. Each one of these will hold up to 500 sheets of paper, 350 sheets of cardstock. So, well, depending on what type of cardstock that you're using, what brands. Some brands are a little thicker than others, but you're going to get a ton of paper storage in the Paper Junkie straight up paper storage boxes. But these are not good for moving around. These are perfect for on the shelf, and you're going to pull things in and out of them. This is the product that you want to use, but not if you're going to move it around. With those, we have our paper storage box dividers, and they come in sets of 10. Oh, where did I put my, oh, I messed up my thing. They come in packs of 10. You can only see 5 of the divider. I'm just going to open them. How about that? You can only see 5 of them in the package when you get them, and they are designed so that if you're using your paper storage boxes this way, they're going to be over the front, right? If you're using the paper storage boxes this way, then you can split up that set of dividers. Let me just rotate them around here so you can see what I'm talking about. So that you get so now you have 10 in a row. So if you're going to put them in your box this way, now you're going to be able to see all 10 tabs, right? So you can either go top to bottom or bottom to top, but you're going to be able to segment off all 10 tabs. So the paper storage box dividers, that's what I used in the paper storage class to sort and organize my paper. You can use them this way, you can use them this way, or if your paper storage boxes are this direction, we're going to go this way. So they pop up over the top, right? So if you always work at home, the paper storage boxes and paper storage box dividers are the perfect solution. If you sometimes work at home, or no, let me go back, let me backtrack. If you work at home but you have to pull things off the shelf and bring it to your workspace, so in this environment, I don't need to pull anything off the shelf other than the paper that I'm actually going to use because it's right next to me. But if I had all my craft supplies stored in a closet and I needed to bring them out to my work table or out to the dining room table where I was going to work, the paper handler is a perfect solution because it has the handles. They retract down. You can store it on a shelf like this. Still pull your paper in and out vertically like we did with the straight up paper storage boxes, or you can pull the handles out, pull it off the shelf, and bring it to your workspace. You can also pull it off the shelf, drop it into your crop tote, and take it to an event, pull it out at the event, and set it on the workspace there. So if you're somebody who moves your paper around, whether that's in your home or to an event, the paper handler is a perfect choice for you. A little bit narrower, won't hold quite as much as the Paper Junkie paper storage boxes, but we had to control the weight of that if you're going to move it around as well. So a little bit narrower, and we have a graphic that Karen can put up or redirect you to that shows how wide each one of these things is and then how much paper it will hold. All right, next up in the 12 by 12 family is the 12 by 12 fab file. Again, a little bit narrower. The 12 by 12 fab file works great for people who have to store their paper somewhere else. As I mentioned earlier, maybe all your craft supplies are in the garage and you only craft at events, or you need an extra layer of protection. The fab files all have lids that close up, right? So if you've got your paper in there and you need to keep the lid closed on it, you're going to be able to close up the lid on the fab file. So this is the big difference between the fab file, which is also portable with a handle, and the paper handler, which is open all the time. So depending on, again, where you store your paper and how you move it around, the 12 by 12 fab file or the paper handler, one of those is going to be the better choice for you. Now the fab files come in lots of sizes, more than 3 sizes. 12 by 12, 8.5 by 11, 8 by 8, and 6 by 6. Inside each of the fab files, you included with each of them are the divider pockets, right? So there's a little tab at the top, so you can label it, and then you can use that pocket for scraps, right? So 12 by 12, 8.5 by 11, 8 by 8, and 6 by 6, they all have the file pockets inside them. You can purchase additional file pockets separately. So if you want to use the file pockets in your paper handler, you can do that. Or if you want to use the file pockets in your paper storage boxes, you can do that, right? So they're very versatile. The file pockets come separately. Thank you for that as well. So 4 sizes, 4 paper sizes in that. The paper handler, which I kind of skipped this, the paper handler also comes in multiple sizes. New. These are new. It comes in 6 by 6, 8.5 by 11, and A4. So we made this a little bit taller. So if you're using A4 paper, if you're getting your paper from the UK, or you're in the UK or Europe, anywhere other than the US, I guess, this will hold A4 paper as well. So the choice here is 6 by 6, A4 8.5 by 11, or 12 by 12 in the paper handler. So those are going to fit for all those things. And the same thing, it just depends how you're using your paper, where you're using it, how you move around in your crafting world, which one of those paper handler, paper storage boxes, or fab files are going to be the right choice for how you organize your paper. Now, within each of those, and there's also the scrap rack. So scrap rack is going to hold your smaller collections of paper. So I'm just going to real quickly with scrap rack. If you're using the scrap rack, there are several pockets or several pages that are going to work great for storing paper. There is, of course, which I don't have in my pile here, the supersized single, and that is our 12 by 12 pocket page, and that'll hold up to 20 sheets of paper. So if you have a collection, let's just say basic gray collections are 18 sheets of paper and 2 sticker sheets. Those are all going to fit in the supersized single pocket page, right? So you're going to be able to store those all together. There are 2 pages, double-sided duos they're called. These have 2 pockets on the front, 4 pockets on the front. So the 2 by 1 and the 4 by 1. And then on the back of each of them is the 12 by 12 pocket. So if you're keeping collections of paper together in your scrap rack, the double-sided duo 2 by 1 or 4 by 1 could be a great option. So here's the 2 by 1 loaded up with some Halloween collection. Here's the 4 by 1, and I just put sticky notes on there for the pocket sizes so you could see 6 by 8, 4 by 6, 4 by 12 are the 4 pockets on the front, and then the 12 by 12 pocket on the back. So this is a great tool for keeping collections together in your scrap rack. If you have collections that you want to keep together in your paper handlers, and we only do these in 12 by 12, this is the 12 by 12 collection keeper. It has a 12 by 12 pocket on the back and then 3 smaller pockets on the front. And when you use that in your paper handler, the little tab sticks out over the side. These come in sets of 3, and they're going to have 3 little tabs, 1, 2, 3 on the tabs. Also, for the paper handler is the 12 by 12 paper pocket, right? So this is just one big pocket. Again, little tab on the side, going to come in a set of 3 with 3 tabs, and that again is going to fit in your paper handler and just pop over the side with that little tab. Now you can use the paper pocket and the collection keeper also in your 12 by 12 straight up paper storage box, right? So you can use it this way, or you can, if you're going to tip it on its back, you can use them. Again, there's the tabs. You can put them in that way. It doesn't matter. So you can use the collection keeper or the paper pocket right in the 12 by 12 paper handler or the 12 by 12 straight up paper storage box. They do not fit well in the fab file because the way the tabs are. So they're great for paper handler and the paper storage box, but not the fab file. This is our expanding project planner. It has a big 12 by 12 pocket in the middle, big expanding 12 by 12 pocket on the back, and then 3 smaller expanding pockets on the front. So again, if you're keeping collections together, you can see how that expands out. So if you have embellishments that match paper that you want to keep together, right, keep things together you use together, you're going to be able to put the paper in and the embellishments in into your expanding project planner. Now this is designed to work in the scrap rack. It has the 3-hole punch, so it's going to fit in your scrap rack. However, I do know that there are people who just cut off the 3-hole punch tab and then they use the expanding project planner right in their paper storage boxes. So if you want to cut that tab off, you can use this in other places other than the scrap rack. All right, those are the 2 that are empty. Have I got everything? We talked about paper storage if you move around and work at home. Paper storage if you are always moving. Paper handlers for people who move their paper around at home and maybe take it somewhere with them. Fab files with the handle and the lid, ideal for people who store their paper somewhere else or need to protect their paper. Maybe the way that you travel with it or where it's stored, you need to keep that sealed up. That's going to be the fab file designed for you. And then last but not least, people who always work at home are going to love the straight up paper storage boxes. This one is a little bit beat up. I pulled it out of the closet with paper in it, but that's going to hold 500 sheets of paper, 350 sheets of cardstock. Again, ideal if you can tip it on its back and put it into your cube style storage. Now all of these options, the 12 by 12 options, fit in cube storage. And they'll go either way. So you can go this way, straight up, or you can go this way on its back with either all of the different options that you've got there. So this way with the small ones as well, and have them right next to your paper storage. So if you have questions, it is Paper Week while I'm recording this video. Feel free to ask us either via our Facebook group or through customer service at totally-tiffany.com. We're happy to answer questions about what's going to work best for your craft room and the way that you craft. Yeah, just email us questions or post them on Facebook, and we'll be happy to answer those for you. I guess that's it. It looks like I've destroyed my studio here with stuff everywhere, so I'm going to take a few minutes and get that cleaned up. Thanks so much for tuning in today and sharing a little bit of your time with me, with us at Totally-Tiffany, and I hope if you do have questions, you'll feel free to ask us those either, again, via Facebook or customer service at totally-tiffany.com. Thanks so much. Have a great day.